What's...
Oh, I'm live though.
Yeah, I know, but hit the keyboard down. Your connection's too weak to go live. So can
Where
you
does
swipe
it
up?
say that?
Can you swipe up from the bottom and go on the Wi-Fi?
Excuse us, please. Technical
1 second.
difficulties.
There we go. Now if you tap it, I should go that way.
Really?
You're supposed to. What the heck? Excuse our technical difficulties.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day to remember.
You know I'm live. You're live.
Oh, hi everybody.
Wayne's not live.
We're
Or
working-
TJ's not live. I'm sorry. Wayne's
We're working
live.
through some issues.
Would you be mine?
Hello, Debbie and Allison. I love you too, Allison. I miss you. When are we gonna get steak?
Can I go?
Yeah. Meet Jenny, Allison. You will love her. She's fun.
I am. I'm a good time.
I'm not gonna be able to go live. I'm just gonna have to take your videos
Well,
afterwards.
We can
She
share.
says ASAP. So,
Oh.
hi, Debbie.
So, I don't know if you can hear, but we have bagpipes playing in the background. There's a gentleman in his driveway that we can see. You cannot. Playing his bagpipes. And, you know, that's something you'll find in a neighborhood every once in a while. You know, and is that something you like? Do you like bagpipes? Do you like listening to bagpipes?
Well, if you do come to Dublin. So
Yes.
Jenny says, I should babysit. Jack misses me. Oh, you should meet Jack. Jack is a cool little dude.
I would like to meet Jack.
Jack is a very cool little dude. He had a showing sweater. Every time we went to look at houses, he had a sweater he wore.
Special sweater. That's funny. So, okay, well, TJ's not live. Wayne and I are. I also have a feed going here, down
Facebook
here,
and start over.
on the business page. So, you know, I don't know if anybody's going to be watching there, but
So we're gonna start, and TJ's gonna sort his theme out. So
while we're working through this. So, today's topic is
finding a neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
it is.
It is.
I'm sorry, those bagpipes are throwing me off.
I know, right?
So today's topic, everyone, is going to be, how do you find the perfect neighborhood? What's the perfect neighborhood for you? What do you like? What do you want to, what do you want out of your neighborhood? I know a lot of people want to move, but sometimes finding that perfect place is just kind of a question. There's a lot of areas in Columbus.
Yeah.
And
It can get overwhelming.
it can. So sorry about the little arm through the thing.
Sorry about that.
TJ is now
TJ's
live.
at a funky angle. Oh boy, we're a hot mess today.
This
aren't
is why live
So-
TV is cool.
All right.
we
sorry
tried
about
something
that.
new too with the musical intro for Mr. Rogers, and fit with the theme.
Yes.
So, all right. So one of the first things, I think a lot of people, when they start this home search, and they really haven't started to define where they want to be, it's hard for them because there's a lot of choices, and then there's houses to choose from there. So one of the first things I think you should do is start to narrow it down a little bit, right? So. Define your style of living. Do you want the suburbs and the sidewalks, or do you want walkable, where you can walk to shops or restaurants? So I think start with your lifestyle and, drill down a little bit from there.
I think too an important thing is trying to figure out what style of house you want. Here in Columbus, and I'm sure it's probably pretty much the same everywhere, but a lot of people don't want the cookie cutter subdivision lifestyle, which, depending on the area, that's what you're going to find. So, however, with that, they do want a big master bedroom, and they do want the big master bath,
Yes.
and that is not going to be found in an older home. Right. So it's important to consider what your wants and needs are with a home. And, do you want big bedrooms? Do you want walk-in closets? Do you want a bathroom attached to your bedroom. In areas where you're going to find the charm and the older style homes, you may not have that. So that's important to narrow down too, I think.
So it sounds like then, I think a good, from that, I think a good idea is start with your wish list and then talk to your agent and find out where you can get those things on your wish list.
Yeah.
If you don't know already where you want to be. A lot of people with kids especially, hone in on a school district. So,
Right.
That could
Sure.
be one of the things too. So.
Yeah, schools are important too. And here, also, Columbus has a way of sneaking in to different areas, so also taxes. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be areas, and they call it a win-win, but where Columbus, you have Columbus City Services, but you have a suburban school district that might be more desirable, and you're going to have less to pay either
Yeah.
way. So there's some things to consider with that, I think.
Right, absolutely.
So on the note for schools, that is one of the things on our list is, to get schooled. So, oftentimes, people ask us, well, what are the best school districts? Well, as agents, we're, have to be careful about how we answer those questions because in all reality, there's this little rule for fair housing called steering. And, really you have to do your own homework when it comes to these kinds of things. So there's different resources online. Talk to your friends, your family, and don't rely on us to determine what's a good school because we're not going to answer that question.
Well, and aside from that, what's important to you in a school district may not be important to someone else.
That's what I said. It's very subjective.
Yeah, I mean, you may want a strong language arts program or a strong sports program for a
Right.
specific sport.
Right.
We don't know that, so it's up to you to figure out what you value in a school.
Well, and I think too, even with that, say you get in one of the more desirable districts, you may have a slew of teachers that you just don't care for your child. So, even within one that might be more desirable, you may not have that great experience.
Right.
So who am I to tell you what, may be good and may not be good?
Yeah. So, but do your homework, figure those
Right.
things out, and then make that part of your list if you have kids and you want to make that part of your criteria.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely.
So what about so you've kind of narrowed it down. So then how are you going to? Can you guys
He
hear the
cannot.
back-
He's still going to town on that day. It's crazy. Oh,
Welcome to Dublin. I feel really authentic right now. with the Dublin.
We're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day.
I really
do you think
he
that's what
is.
he's practicing?
I really think he is.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I think, kind of cool in a weird kind of way. But
Yeah.
so anyway, neighbors,
Right.
can be a good source.
Right.
Trying to figure out. So if you're looking at houses and you're out with your agent and you see a neighbor out and about, before you commit to that house or that neighborhood, maybe walk across the street or next door. If you see someone out and
Talk to him.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Travel through that area too at different times of the day. I know when I have been in Hilliard for 17 years now, and we moved from the Chicago area. So for us, it was a very different experience trying to figure out, what neighborhood. We have no idea what's here and what's not, and where are we going to want to be, and what do we like. And when we finally did narrow it down to a home, we drove through the subdivision. We're in a subdivision in Hilliard, and we drove through it at different times during the day, and it was amazing the difference in time. From morning when people are at work, or during the day doing whatever they do during the day, and then in the evenings when people are out, and there's a lot more activity and a lot more action going on. Are people walking through? For us at that time, it was important to have walkability and interaction with our neighbors was something that we were. So do you see that? Do you see people out talking to each other and walking their dogs or walking?
Right. If you like to be social and and you drive through a neighborhood, at 6 o'clock and there's no kids playing in the streets or nobody out working in the yard, and is that what you're going to want? If you like to see people and those kinds of things, getting there at a different time of the night or on the weekend, good way to figure it out. So.
I too actually had that with some clients. We were seeing a home in an area that they may not have been more familiar with. They were looking for certain areas in the neighborhood, like schools, and they found a home that they liked, and then they did go knocking on a couple of doors next to it to ask the neighbor's opinion of what, I don't remember the questions they had offhand, but
I generally find people, are very open to that conversation.
sure,
They,
I would be.
They want to know as much as you do who's moving into the neighborhood.
Right.
They want to know who their neighbors are going to be and get to know people. So,
Right.
I did that when I bought, in my previous home. And I was actually trying to find the HOA president.
Sure.
So I knocked on someone's door who I saw pull in the driveway because that's when I knew they were home. But I found them to be very friendly and very helpful. So.
Yeah, and especially as it gets warmer, you don't even need to go knock on people's doors because you're going to have a lot of people outside
Sure.
working in the yard, or kids are playing out in the front yard or whatnot. And it's just as easy to go up and say, "Hey, I'm looking at this house next door. What do you know about it?" Because
Right.
you may also get some extra knowledge about the house that you're looking at during the process.
Yes, which may be a good thing. Inspections and so forth only come up with so much. So.
I had a client who was afraid because after she bought her house, a neighbor told her that someone had committed suicide in it.
Oh.
And come to find out that it was an urban legend, and no one had actually done that, but someone thought that they had. And
Yeah, what would you do with that?
Things happen.
you know what?
Because that is something that comes up. I mean, stuff like that should be disclosed, but that can be really iffy for someone. I mean, that could really ruin a transaction.
Yes.
Might be the house they love, but someone tells them something like that, and
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Anyway,
So,
Yeah.
another piece of advice I think is don't settle. So if you have your wish list and you have, these traits in a neighborhood that you've identified, stick to your guns. You're going to live there for a while. You're making a big investment. Inventory is small right now, and of course, we want what you want, and obviously a fast sale is fun.
right.
But, you've got to look out for you. And so don't settle if you don't find what it is that you're looking for, because, it will come along, and this is going to require patience in this market. So.
Yeah, and you may spend 17 years living in a house thinking it's fine. Because that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, we
you
settled-
move in and you think, well, I'm only going to live here for 5 years, and then 17 years
17 years later, and that's exactly what happened. And so, usually when I'm working with buyers, I'll draw from my own experience, because when we moved here, the market was crazy like that. I mean, we would talk to our agent, and on Wednesday, there'd be 20 houses for us to look at, and on Friday, there were 3 left. And we were coming for the weekend. And they're so the home we bought, it's a great neighborhood. And for us, I mean, it was everything that we were looking for, but the house itself, I mean, it was fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But we were going to move after a few years just to get a better feel for the lay of the land, and it's fine.
But I've had some clients.
It's okay.
I've
I
had
like my family room.
I've had some folks
Got
that
fireplace.
sort of work on like a point system.
Oh.
They're like, okay, these are the things that we have to have, and beyond that, there's a whole list of maybe 15 things that we'd like to have in a house or a neighborhood, and we want at least half of those.
Oh, okay.
So because you may not find 100% of everything,
Right.
but know what you're willing to give and take on too.
And I think that's important, especially in the seller's market we're having. You don't want to settle, yet you don't want to not.
You don't want to pass up a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. So, you do have to have some give and take, I think, with your wish list.
All of this is going to be give and take.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
And
yeah.
Whether you're spending $100,000 or $5 million,
Yeah.
it truly is a compromise. Somewhere in there, you're going to compromise on something. So, in your wish list, it's not a bad idea to identify the non-flexible items, whether that is, if it is the schools, like if your kids are already in one school and you want them to continue in that school, and you don't want to be flexible on that, then that's where you start, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a great starting point, because then you really narrowed
Absolutely.
down. But then as far as the rest of the items on your wish list, 5 bedrooms versus 4, or 3 bedrooms versus, or 3 bathrooms versus 2, big yard, 3-car garage, all of those things. When we set your search up, we set these searches up in the MLS all the time for people. And, I try to keep the search broad. And, while you're going to get some properties that don't meet a big part of your criteria, you're also not going to miss something. And I think it's important to not miss an opportunity because we got so specific, on what all the wants and the wishes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Going back to the schools for a second, though, and I'm going to ask you this. If you're trying to get a feel for a specific school or a school district, how about going to some of the school sporting events or school activities? Can that help give you a great feel for how the school is? Or the level of involvement the parents have?
Probably depends on the sport. Because the sports that my daughter was in versus what my son is in, it's a very different community of parenting. Wrestling versus football versus track, so there's a little bit more involvement in some of them. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that you, absolutely, you get to see the community. A lot of people come out. You get to see the strengths, the weaknesses. Again, I'd probably choose the sport.
Yeah, whichever what your kids like to do.
Sometimes people seem a little maniacal at some of these things. Not me.
But if you're passionate like that too, then maybe that works.
Passionate is a really good word.
Yes.
Passionate is a very good word. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And I think too, call the schools if you're looking at a house, why not call the school that would be feeding into that and talk to the administration or principal or
teachers,
see if any of the teachers would be open to talking and see whatever questions you might have. I don't know. When we were moving, schools, my daughter was going to be starting kindergarten. It wasn't something that I specifically was looking at or for. I don't know. Call me a bad mom. I don't know, but some people are very specific about it. So yeah, there's definitely things like that. So
I think it's about generally here getting involved early, in the neighborhood before you, hone in on a specific area. Go take a walk in the neighborhood. Go walk around. Just take the dog or the kids or whatever on a Saturday. Go walk, and get out. Take a nice spring day. We've got lots of those hopefully coming up. So get out of the car.
Listen to the bagpipes.
Yes. Come to Old Dublin. I feel like a commercial right now. So I think there's lots of things you can do to really familiarize yourself with the area.
And I would check out the community calendar for festivals or other activities in the area, because that may also help you determine whether you do or do not want a specific house. Because if there are a lot of summer festivals on your street, for example, I could think of a specific area in Columbus where there are festivals for 3 weeks, and it's really hard to get in and out of your house sometimes.
Do you have parking available? Is there parking?
Yeah, if you're Irish, or you have Irish affinity, then...
You might want to look in a particular area.
Yeah. Well,
Dublin.
Okay, so now I'm getting into steering, which...
No, you're not.
I'm just referencing the bagpipes in case the division is watching.
Because they were playing. He went back inside now.
Yeah,
He's done.
Dublin's got the whole Irish festival.
Yes, they do have that theme going here.
If you like tomatoes... Reynoldsburg has a good tomato festival.
Well, I was thinking specifically of the Short North area here too, where they do a lot of stuff over the summer. Gallery hop, and not just over the summer, but somewhat year round. And I had a client who was looking at a condo and didn't actually have parking specific to the condo he was looking at, and so it would be on-street parking. And is that something you're going to want to deal with? Because I'll tell you what, on those weekends, don't leave your house.
Yeah.
If you don't have a garage or a spot.
And Dublin, the Memorial Tournament. And,
Right, yeah.
Those kinds of things. If you live in Muirfield, I think the community enjoys that aspect of it. Because there is a celebratory feeling that week of the Memorial Tournament. And so, figure out what things you like. And, like Jenny was saying, there's all kinds of festivals downtown and around the Short North and that area. So, if you like those things, that's another thing you can hone in on. But what about safety? So how do we...
So that's a question we probably get a lot. And again, it leads into this area where as agents, and Wayne being the broker, I think you can probably guide a little bit more in this conversation. But what should someone do? I mean, say someone does say, is this a safe neighborhood?
Yeah, so we're not going to say yes or no.
Right.
Different neighborhoods have inherent qualities that come along with being part of that neighborhood, as we've been discussing here. So if safety is an issue, the sex offender registry, there's a lot of public record information out there. And what we're going to do is direct you to those resources where you can go do your own homework. Because, for instance, I live, in the Short North, and it is an urban neighborhood in a big city. So there are, car break-ins and, there are things like that happen when you live in, an urban, concentrated area, so for me, I knew when I bought my house and I moved in, I did my own homework on safety and what I was comfortable with, and ultimately, I landed, where we landed. So for me, that's fine. Some people will be less open to those kinds of areas and those kinds of trends that may happen around you. So just do your homework. Whether the Columbus Dispatch has a feature, I think, on their website where they plot out crimes that have happened in an area, and you can go on. There's lots of reports, and you can figure out, sex offenders, where the sex offenders live, those kinds of things. And if that's an issue for you, then you're going to want to do your homework and figure out where is best for you. And it's the same for safety as it is if you're of a certain religion, if you're of I don't know, if homosexual neighborhood, people, if people want to be around other gay people, then we're not going to steer you into certain areas. You got to ask your friends, and you've got to do your own homework. And it's the same for schools, safety, and any other kinds of traits of anybody that you want to be around.
And with good reason, we're limited on topics like that. I mean, and I always, it's kind of a conundrum because people rely on us for information about different things, but with good reason, we're not allowed to talk about certain things or steer you to areas. I mean, and again, a lot of it can be subjective. What I might find personally is desirable, someone else might not. And it's kind of a difficult area.
Well, just like talking to the neighbors, I think that you could talk to neighborhood leaders. A lot of neighborhoods now have Facebook pages, or maybe there's a civic association in the area, and talk with those folks because they can give you insight. But remember that it's coming through their lens and their filter. So just because someone says, "Oh, this is a great thing," or "Oh, this is a bad thing," you need to realize that they're putting it through their own filter and their own lens. So then you need to reorient that towards yourself. Yeah.
The internet is a great tool when it comes to this. I mean, there's so many sites available, and like Wayne said, we can tell you what they are or where to look online, or just do a random Google search to find. There are, I know I get the question there for investors, and there's a lot of regentrification happening in the Columbus area. But maybe as yet that neighborhood might not be somewhere you want to locate yet. And again, it's the safety issue, it's crime, it's whatever it might be. And the internet is a vast sea of knowledge.
Make Google your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that we don't want to help you.
No, right. Yeah, it's just
It's
why can't we?
yeah. Well, laws and
Yeah.
just sensitivity.
Right.
It's like Jenny said. What's important to you. Maybe or what's important to us may not matter to you, and
Right.
This isn't about us.
Right.
It's about you, and I
Us
think
getting
that's,
to where you're going to be happy.
So it is a tightrope walk,
Right.
that conversation. But in the end, we'll guide you to sources and let you make
Yeah.
your decisions.
Absolutely.
So I think, can you think of another idea or
Not really. I think
Yeah.
we've pretty much hit the big things here. As far as choosing
all the
a neighborhood.
considerations? Yeah, we could probably go down the list again
Yeah,
just to
so-
wrap up for everyone.
Yeah. So we'll start by narrowing down. 1 to 2, and when we say neighborhood. I don't necessarily mean neighborhood as much as I mean city, because
Right.
and sometimes, especially in this market, like if Hilliard is where do you want to be, I don't know if narrowing down to Heritage Farms
Specific
or a
subdivision.
subdivision is going to be in your best interest,
Right.
Unless maybe you've got friends or family that you're trying to be near,
Right.
and then talk to us about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But in any case, usually hone in on a city.
Even a side of town, north,
Right.
south, east,
Right.
west. Different areas. You may get more for your money in some than others. So, that's kind of what you need to. Or age of home. Do you want newer? Do you want older?
Right.
Seems more toward the inner working of the city is going to be an older style home. Further out might be newer. It's just because of the way cities expand, and not to say that there isn't new builds in the city, because certainly we're
There.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Right there,
Right.
Right
a
outside
lot
my
of
window.
condos going in right there.
We can just flip you around.
We
right
may
now,
flip you
like-
guys around one of these days so
Yeah.
you can see the view from where we are.
That's
All the
a wonderful
construction
view,
going
right?
on.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
So after that, talk to neighbors.
Right.
Don't settle.
Don't settle.
Do your homework. As far as schools.
Do your own homework on safety.
Right.
Because once again, you have to put down what's important to you.
Right.
Because that's what's important at the end of the day. You're the one who's going to be living there for 3, 5, 10, 17 years.
And things happen everywhere. Car
Yeah, right.
break-ins, garage, break-ins.
Right.
Those things happen everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just your level of comfort. So go do your homework there.
And then finally,
Take a walk.
walk around the area that you're interested in, and the house that if you see that house that you want.
Yeah,
Walk
today is a
around.
great day for that. So
Yeah.
get out of your house. It's warm before it starts raining again. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, so I think we've covered it.
I think so too.
So again, as usual, you know where to find us here on Facebook, on social media channels, message or direct contact. So
And just in case, I don't know, if you are interested in purchasing a home or selling a home, we are real estate agents, and I put that out there because sometimes people tune in, they don't understand, but we're with 43 Homes, and call us, private message us, email. We're all available.
Yeah, the biggest thing I get is people feel like they're putting me out.
Right,
and it's like this
right.
is what I do.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and we
You
would
know,
love
I
to
would-
help you. So
I'd rather be involved in the process or sooner rather than later.
right,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
So don't worry about us. Worry about you, and we'll help take care of you. So
And I know we've said it before, but really there's no obligation to have these conversations. If you've got questions, feel free to reach out anytime.
Yeah.
Talk to us. I love the education part of what I do, so whatever questions I can help answer, believe me, it's my pleasure. So
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're here for you and for what you need and to build a relationship together.
right.
Because we want to make sure that you're happy.
Right.
gosh darn it, we're fun. Can't you tell?
We'll bring wine.
So, yes.
Wait, so we have one more thing, and surprise, Wayne. So for this month, what we were talking about as far as a drawing, we've done where you ask a question and you get entered in a raffle, and we've done it weekly, but we were considering possibly doing it just for the month. So anyone who asks a question, well, depending on the comment.
Hi, nice to see you. Probably.
Yeah. Real estate related comment. You will get entered in a drawing, which TJ and I decided, surprise Wayne, is going to be a dozen cookies from
Plenty of cookies.
So surprise, Alex.
We'll be back for another box.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic, independently owned business here in Columbus, and he creates cookies, custom design, and we will have fun design, and they're beautiful, and they taste wonderful, and.
Well, we'll look forward to that. I like cookies.
Yeah. So send us your questions, send us your comments during the broadcast, after the broadcast on our videos, and get entered for those drawings.
And when you get their cookies, if one's missing, I didn't do it.
TJ did. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Thank you.
And now the awkward pause while I turn everyone off. So
bye, everybody.
See ya. That's good. Exit music.